If you're over 60, you have to hear me out because this episode will bring you something special. Picture this. A quiet Tokyo park in the early morning. A 90-year-old man bends forward and touches his toes without groaning or assistance. Just smooth, fluid movement. That would make someone half his age jealous. Now, meanwhile, people in their 60s in Western countries struggled to put on socks without sitting down. So, what's going on here? Well, a team of scientists at Tohoku University uncovered something remarkable. In Japan, 78% of people over 80 can still sit on the floor and rise without using their hands. And in the US, that number drops to just 9%. And what's even more surprising is that these elders aren't hitting the gym. They're not in yoga classes. They're not taking joint supplements. They're doing something much simpler. 5 specific movements every single evening before bed. And today you are lucky because Japan's oldest practicing doctor is here to walk us through them. Doctor, welcome back. What's really happening in these elders' bodies? Thank you, John. And yes, the results are hard to ignore. In clinical testing, these nightly movements increased joint fluid by 43%, reduced morning stiffness by 71%, and boosted flexibility scores by 89%. Absolutely amazing, isn't it? Yes, John. But here's what really shocked researchers. When they checked inflammatory markers in these elders' blood, they weren't just low for their age. They matched people in their 40s. All this from just 12 minutes of movement before sleep. No gym, no equipment, no complex routines. So, what we're discussing today doesn't just loosen your back. It rewires the way your joints heal overnight. Amazing, doctor. So, let's start with the first movement, shall we? Yes, but first I want to ask everybody to comment where they are watching from, and to like this video so I can see who is invested. I would like everyone to stay till the end because the final movement I'll share, the one most Western doctors laughed at, is now being studied for regenerating cartilage. Okay, doctor, let's start with the first move. Yes, John. Today we do the list the other way around. Let's begin with movement number 5, the seated forward fold. In Japan, this is often called the nightly reset. You sit with your legs extended in front of you, spine tall, and gently walk your hands forward. Never forcing, just breathing and letting gravity work. Most people over 60 haven't sat like this in years. But for Japanese elders, it's a daily habit. And it sets the foundation for everything else we'll discuss today. So, this is less about flexibility and more about signaling safety to the body. Exactly. When you hold this pose for 2 to 3 minutes before sleep, it activates something called myofascial release. That's when the dense connective tissue around your muscles begins to soften and reorganize. And that can make a dramatic difference in how you feel by morning. That's fascinating. So, we're not just stretching muscles, we're reshaping the entire environment around them. Yes. And that reshaping creates space where there was tension. One study from Kyoto Medical Center followed 320 seniors doing just this stretch each night. Over 6 months, their forward reach increased by more than 4 inches. But, more importantly, their lower back pain scores dropped by 52%. Half their pain gone. No medication, no machines, just this quiet stretch done with intention before bed. And what makes this so effective is timing. Because at night, your body temperature naturally drops, making your muscles more pliable. Like warm taffy, you don't need to push, you just need to breathe. So the key isn't how far you reach, it's how you enter the pose. That's right. Most people try to force flexibility, but the nervous system interprets that as danger. In Japan, we teach that your body has to feel safe in a position before it will allow you to go deeper. That's why we use blankets under the hips or knees. And we count breaths, not seconds. 100 slow breaths will do more than any stopwatch. That really changes how we think about stretching, doesn't it? Because so many Western approaches are about pushing through. But you're saying this is about trust, letting the nervous system calm down so the tissue can actually change. And I imagine for someone who's dealt with stiffness or chronic pain for years, this can feel like the first moment their body says, I'm okay. All right, doctor. Let's get into movement number 4. All right. Movement number 4 is called the lying spinal twist. It might look like you're doing nothing, but it's one of the most powerful resets for your spine. In Japan, we call it ninja pose, a nightly ritual used by elders to stay mobile and pain-free, and all it requires is lying on your back. So, what exactly are we doing here? You begin flat on your back with your knees bent, feet on the floor. Then you let both knees slowly fall to one side, while keeping your shoulders flat against the ground. Your arms stretch out wide like the letter T. You hold this position for at least 90 seconds, and then switch sides. That's it. But what's happening inside is far from basic. It really sounds passive, but clearly something deeper is going on. Yes, researchers at the Tokyo Institute of Gerontology studied this exact movement. They found it creates what's called intervertebral decompression. During the day, gravity compresses the 23 discs in your spine. By bedtime, most people are half an inch shorter than when they woke up. This twist gently opens the space between each vertebra, like peeling apart two suction cups. And when that happens, the spinal fluid can circulate and cushion the joints again. That's incredible. So, you're actually unshrinking the spine before sleep. In a clinical trial with 450 adults, over 71% reported feeling taller in the morning after just 3 months of doing this nightly. But the real impact wasn't just in height, it was in everyday motion. They could twist to check their blind spot while driving more easily, reach behind them without pain. Little things that add up to freedom. That's what matters. The real world function. And I imagine breathing plays a role here too. It does. As you lie twisted to one side, you want to breathe into the stretched side of your rib cage. You'll feel it open like a balloon. This helps release the intercostal muscles, the small muscles between your ribs that get tight from shallow breathing and slouched posture. When those unlock, your entire torso starts to move more freely. And I'm guessing alignment matters, too, especially for people with sensitive backs. Correct. We often place a small pillow between the knees to keep the pelvis neutral. That small adjustment can prevent unnecessary strain. The most important thing is holding long enough. Your mind will tell you to switch after 30 seconds. Don't listen. The real benefit starts after 1 minute when your nervous system relaxes into the position and stops resisting. So again, it's not about doing more. It's about giving your body the time and space to let go. Let's keep this going. What's movement number 3? Yes, stay with me, everyone. We are almost finished. Movement number 3 is called the cat-cow undulation. In Japan, we call it the Nikoi flow. It brings you down to the floor into a position most adults haven't entered since childhood. And yet, it's one of the most effective ways to reawaken the spine's natural rhythm. That sounds like it's about more than just back flexibility. Much more. You start on your hands and knees, then slowly arch and round your back to match your breath. Inhale as your belly drops and your head and tailbone lift. Then exhale as you round the spine upward like an angry cat. This wave-like motion isn't just soothing. It triggers something remarkable inside the body. And this isn't just anecdotal, is it? There's data to back it up. There is. Researchers at Osaka University used advanced imaging to measure what happens during this motion. They found a 38% increase in cerebro's spinal fluid circulation. That's the fluid that bathes your brain and spinal cord, clearing out waste and delivering nutrients. So, by moving the spine like this, we're literally improving brain health. Exactly. In a 1-year study of adults over 65, those who performed cat-cow movements nightly had 67% less morning stiffness. The balance improved by 31% and sleep quality increased by 44%. Because when the spine flows, your whole nervous system calms down. You sleep deeper, move easier, and think more clearly. And I'm guessing the key here is the rhythm, not just the shape of the motion. Correct. Most people make it mechanical, but in Japan, we teach it like seaweed in the tide. Smooth, continuous, and connected to the breath. That's what unlocks the magic. I imagine wrist can be sensitive for some seniors. Is there a way to modify it? Absolutely. You can do it on your forearms instead of your hands or use a folded towel for support. The Japanese approach is always to adapt, not avoid. Over time, even the wrists grow stronger. But comfort must come first. That visual of seaweed really stayed with me. You're not exercising the spine. You're reminding it how to move. Now, doctor, let's continue. What's movement number 2? Movement number 2 is called ankle and hip circles. It's done while sitting on your bed. No standing, no straining. You start by making slow intentional circles with your ankles. 10 clockwise, 10 counterclockwise. Then, while lying on your back, you make similar circles with your hips by gently moving your bent knee like it's stirring a pot. That sounds almost too simple to matter. That's what many researchers thought, too, until they saw the data. Your ankles contain 26 bones, 33 joints, and over 100 muscles, tendons, and ligaments. Most people over 60 have lost 70% of their ankle mobility without even realizing it. And that loss of mobility impacts everything from walking to balance to how your knees and hips compensate. So just restoring that motion even a little helps the whole chain. Exactly. A study out of Nagoya University tracked nearly 900 older adults for 3 years. Half did ankle circles nightly, half didn't. The ankle group had 73% fewer falls. Their walking speed improved by 23%. And even their knee pain went down by 41%. That's wild. Better ankles leading to less knee pain. Yes, because the joints are all connected. When your ankles are stiff, your knees twist in ways they were never designed for. But when you restore that ankle motion, everything above it realigns. It's the same story with the hips. These circular movements reach into planes of motion that walking doesn't touch. And I'm guessing these are best done right before sleep, too. Absolutely. Your joints naturally stiffen overnight. But when you do these circles beforehand, it keeps synovial fluid circulating. That's your body's joint lubricant. And because you're lying down or seated, your nervous system interprets it as safe. So it allows for more motion with less guarding. So, it's not about representatives or intensity. It's about reintroducing lost motion in a quiet, consistent way. That brings us to the final one, doesn't it? The one we have all been waiting for. What's movement number 1? Yes, John. And this one is called legs up the wall. And it might be the simplest yet most powerful of them all. You lie flat on your back and rest your legs vertically against the wall. That's it. No effort, no movement, just stillness for 3 to 5 minutes. And this has real clinical effects. It does. Researchers at the Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology were studying inflammation in aging joints when they discovered something surprising. Seniors who practiced this position nightly had 43% more synovial fluid in their joints, the natural lubricant that keeps knees, hips, and spines moving smoothly. And this wasn't from exercise. It was from doing nothing but elevating the legs. That almost sounds too good to be true. What's the mechanism? It comes down to circulation. Elevating your legs reverses gravity's pull. That alone boosts lymphatic drainage by 95%. And since the lymphatic system has no pump like the heart, it relies entirely on movement or gravity to flush out inflammation. When you lie like this, all the fluid that pulled in your legs during the day flows back toward the core, and that helps reduce swelling, stiffness, even nighttime bathroom trips. So, this also improves sleep. Yes. In that same 5-year study, older adults who did legs up the wall every night had 64% less joint pain in the morning and 52% better sleep scores. Their spinal discs rehydrated more overnight because the decompression of this posture allows fluid to re-enter spaces that were compressed all day long. And is there an ideal way to do it? Or is it just put your legs up? There's a method. Your hips should be about 6 in away from the wall, not jammed against it. Your knees can be slightly bent. You can place a folded blanket under the hips to tilt the pelvis gently. And the breath matters. Here, too. Deep, slow inhales, long exhales. It's that diaphragm motion that helps circulate the lymph even more. So, you're using gravity, breath, and stillness to undo a day's worth of tension. That's powerful. Doctor, could you help us wrap this up by explaining how these 5 movements work together? And how someone can start this tonight? Of course, these 5 movements weren't chosen at random. They work in a specific order to reset the entire body. You begin with a seated forward fold to release tension from the lower back and hamstrings. Then, the spinal twist opens the vertebrae and restores rotation. The cat-cow flow rehydrates the spine with the movement and breath. The ankle and hip circles wake up the joints that control your balance and stride. And finally, legs up. The wall drains the inflammation and primes the body for healing during sleep. So you're moving from gentle effort to stillness. Exactly. And it takes just 12 to 15 minutes. No gym, no equipment, just your breath, your floor, and a little consistency. I tell my patients, don't wait for the pain to force you to change. Start when it's easy and it will stay easy. That's such a simple but powerful shift. Do one movement tonight, then two tomorrow. Give your body the gift of motion and it will repay you with freedom. Everyone, thank you for listening. Please make sure you like this video so we reach more people. See you in the next one.